Hello, Huskers fans. It is Jacob Padilla and Drake Keeler coming back at you again after a long and busy day at Big Ten Media Days here in Minneapolis. Got to check out the Target Center, hear from 4 different players, both head coaches from Nebraska, along with a bunch of other players, or a bunch of other coaches from around the league. So pretty cool day. Got a chance to hear from a lot. What on the women's side stood out to you in terms of storylines or things that you heard today?
Yeah, it's just been a continuation of their theme, expecting more after coming off of an NCAA tournament appearance, and they're really doing that. They did that through the offseason and into this season by focusing on a lot of, individual things and doing them together, but seeing how each player could get just a little bit better each day. That applies to the team's leadership as well. They know that they're going to be able to need to lean on each player, and they're all going to bring something specific to the table in that aspect. So that was the main narrative from both Coach Amy Williams and Jazz Shelley and Alexis Markowski.
Yeah, on the men's side, it's continuation things they've talked about before, but the overriding theme is just the value that Fred Hoiberg places on the experience of the transfers, and particularly the seniors, the super seniors. There are 3 of them on this team. And then you can throw in Juwan Gary as well, who isn't a senior, but has played some basketball with a good program at Alabama. And Sam Griesel kind of talked about where that came from, how he developed that throughout his career. He mentioned playing Duke on his 19th birthday against Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and he's like, well, if I can do this, then I can face anything, and kind of carried that throughout his career. And Derek Walker kind of talked about a little bit too about what he learned at Tennessee and just kind of things he's learned over his time at Nebraska as well. And he's excited to have guys like Griesel and like Emmanuel Bandamel who have come from winning programs and know what it takes to get to the NCAA tournament. Have those guys to kind of share the leadership burden. And he mentioned Griesel in particular as someone who really has a knack for kind of speaking up and saying the right things in the right moments when the team really needs it. When it's an important point in the game, he'll huddle the guys up and say, all right, let's get locked in here, things like that. So I think Sam Griesel is definitely going to be the face of this program this year. I think he's a pretty good player too, on top of the leadership he brings. And I think Fred Hoiberg talked about C.J. Wilcher and kind of the 15 pounds that he cut and how that's helping him as a player. Derek Walker talked about how much he likes playing with Wilhelm Breidenbach, who obviously got hurt after 10 games last year and is excited to kind of play with him again. Those are a couple of the other highlights. What about you? Got anything else that stood out?
Yeah, just going back to the leadership thing, the team also created a leadership council this year. Alexis Markowski talked about that and how that's helped her grow as a leader. Coming off of Big Ten Freshman of the Year honor, she's stepping into a bigger role this year in the leadership aspect. Amy Williams talked about her and how one of her strengths is just being able to not only believe in herself but believe in her teammates and instill that confidence in her own teammates. There was some talk about Sam Hybe, who's missing the season, but she still played a big role. Amy Williams mentioned that she met with Allison Widener, Sam Hybe did, about how the guard can, really step up this year and improve. And that's something to watch as we go into the season.
And one thing I kind of found interesting, kind of newsworthy a little bit, is Jazz Shelley talking about the decision that she has to make. And because this is her 4th year in college because of that COVID year, she could come back for one more year. What did she have to say about that?
That's a decision she has not made yet. Obviously wants to see how this season goes, but she does want to have that decision made before the end of the season, to just out of respect for the team and their recruiting purposes and all of that. But obviously she's a standout player, all Big Ten last year, so that's going to be something on her mind throughout the season.
Yeah, and I found that interesting because that's not usually the kind of answer you get. Usually, right, anytime you ask one of these players that has that decision, it's, oh, I'm just worried about the games right now. I'll make that decision after the season. So the fact that she is has not only her best interest but the program's in mind, I think that was pretty cool to hear, and kind of speaks a lot to her character and what she means to this team.
Absolutely, and if she said, that's a decision that'll wait to the end of the season, no one would have blamed her. But that just goes to show, this is a team that Amy Williams has talked about it, Jazz Shelley's talked about it, Markowski's talked about it. They're just very close and really play for each other. And that's what Amy Williams wants to see from the team as they go into this year.
One more highlight that I'll leave on from the men's side, a guy that Fred Hoiberg brought up kind of unprompted and said he doesn't talk about enough is Denham Dawson, the redshirt freshman who enrolled at kind of mid-semester last year and redshirted and worked on his body, worked on his game. He really likes what he brings in terms of toughness, in terms of hustle. He says he knows what he's going to get from him every time out on the floor. And that goes a long way towards locking a spot into that rotation. Hoiberg talked previously about how he's going to have some tough calls in terms of narrowing down those rotations. There are a lot of young guys on the back end that are fighting for spots. And it sounds like Dawson is a guy that maybe we need to start considering more strongly as, hey, he's going to play this year. You never know, there's a group of those guys there, but I think Fred likes what he brings, and what he brings fits into kind of the themes that I've talked about, that Fred and all the players have talked about in terms of toughness, defensive mindset, all those types of things that they're going to need to do and have to win this season. And Dawson is a guy, as a redshirt freshman, that kind of embodies that a little bit. So that's some of the highlights here. We got plenty of audio. You can check out our YouTube channel for all the videos from today. Check out hailvarsity.com for all our write-ups. We'll have plenty of content, more coming at you. I think both Drake and I have kind of gathered some information to use for our yearbook features, or not yearbook, but basketball preview magazine features. So we're not going to, that'll be a little bit teased. We're not telling you what it's about, but go subscribe to the magazine. You'll get that to kind of get you ready for the basketball season. So pretty productive day here in Minneapolis, and
for sure
looking forward to the basketball season starting soon.
Yeah.